Good morning. I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News Now. It is Thursday. That means it is time for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Three fugitives that we feature every week that are running our streets, potentially in our area, making you and your family a little less safe. They are facing serious charges. They are innocent until proven guilty, but we need them in front of a judge so that they can answer to the charges they're facing. We're going to welcome in, as we do every week, Detective Red Dyer with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Red, how are you today, sir?
Feeling excellent, Dan.
It's great to have you again. Three more cases. Red, you say you like to get the community involved. Why is this program such a help?
Well, Dan, we recognize at Crime Stoppers the advantages that the community offers to us, the information that they can provide to us, and most importantly for the community, it helps them feel like they're helping out. They get a potential reward of up to $5,000, and they're making their streets a little bit safer.
Yeah, it's an incredible program, and we'll get to the reason people can feel safe about calling Crime Stoppers. A lot of people say, I don't want to get involved. I know where this person is. We'll get to that in a minute. It is a program that clearly works. If you're watching this on social media, hit that share button, because while you may not recognize a face, we know how social media works. The more this video gets propagated, the more people see it, the better chance to get somebody off our streets and into a courtroom. Red, let's get started. Some extremely serious charges in our first case here. What do we know about David Gosha?
Very serious, Dan. This situation is a nightmare no one wants to experience. I should start by saying that Mr. Gosha may be known on the streets as Steve Gosha and Charles Martin. In November of 2023, Mr. Gosha pled guilty to attempted burglary, strangulation, domestic violence, and theft. According to reports in June of 2023, David trespassed into the victim's home. The victim was not home. However, when the victim returned home, they found him destroying their property. He then attacked the victim, threw them to the ground, hit them in the face, headbutt them, and beat them with a flashlight, causing a laceration that needed to be glued shut. He didn't stop there, though, however. David then placed a plastic bag over the victim's mouth and nose in an attempt to suffocate them, and even went so far as to strangle the victim with their own lanyard. He then stole $100 cash and the victim's phone. He failed to report to the probation department as instructed, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. It should be noted he has an extensive and violent criminal history dating back with the Sheriff's Department to 1989. He's 6 foot tall and 190 pounds, and was last known to be staying in the 4000 block of East 131st Street in Cleveland.
With somebody facing a laundry list of charges like that, it's no wonder he is now being featured here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Our next case, Samantha Norman. This is Red, when we were talking about this, I described her as slippery. This is yet another one of our fugitives that just doesn't want to get caught. What do we know about Samantha Norman?
Well, like you said, she does not want to be caught, Dan, and I want to point out it is never a good idea to run from the police, as we'll see in this instance. Miss Norman is wanted on 2 cases out of the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. In October of 2023, she pled guilty to attempted felonious assault of a police officer, failure to comply, and tampering with evidence. Reports state that in that case, she struck a police officer with her vehicle in June of 2023, extremely serious. In her second case, she pled guilty to failure to comply and attempted vandalism, where reports state that in a separate incident, this is completely separate from the first one, in June of 2023, she fled from Maple Heights police in a vehicle and struck a police cruiser. She eventually crashed into another vehicle and a retaining wall on Joseph Street, where she was apprehended a short distance from the crash. Speaking of driving recklessly, Dan, she actually has warrants with Aurora PD, Maple Heights PD, Parma Heights, Warrensville, Cleveland Heights, and Shaker for numerous traffic violations. She's approximately 5 feet and 185 pounds, and was last known to be staying in the 12,000 block of Shadaway Road in the city of Garfield Heights.
Yeah, people don't know that when you start attacking or driving your vehicle at a police officer or even hitting a cruiser, you're amplifying your charges. That's not just assault. Now it's assault on a police officer that carries with it stiffer penalties, and never a good idea. Let's get to our third and final case. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of rape cases here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. This is a case that both the Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County, the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department, and the U.S. Marshals want you to see. Walk us through the case of Michael Mann.
Dan, Michael Mann may be known on the streets as Michael Wilson. We're talking about some very serious charges here. It's alleged that in February of 2023, Michael Mann raped the victim and touched them inappropriately. He's no stranger to police, as he has an extensive criminal history with the sheriff's department that dates back to 1992. Crime Stoppers, as you said, in collaboration with the U.S. Marshals, are looking for information that leads to his arrest, so that he can answer to these very serious charges. He also has warrants with the Columbiana County Sheriff's Department, Parma Police, and Portage County Sheriff. He's approximately 6'1" and 256 pounds, was last known to be staying in the 7500 block of Star Ave in the city of Cleveland, but is also known to frequent the area of East 124th Street in Cleveland.
Serious case there. 2 rape charges: attempted rape, gross sexual imposition, and kidnapping with sexually motivated specifications. Again, that's a lot of legal speak. When there's something with specifications, that means, again, the penalty can be amplified because it's not just a kidnapping. It is a kidnapping with a sexually motivated charge on it. And if convicted, can face several more years in prison. Red, we were talking about it just briefly earlier. People don't want to get involved. They don't want their name associated. They don't want some file sitting in a courtroom that has their name on it because they're the ones that place the call. Explain to our viewers why that's not a concern here for Crime Stoppers.
Well, I'd like to put our viewers at ease, Dan, by letting them know that we don't record phone calls. We don't take down any of your personal information. Everything that we do through you is referenced through an anonymous tip number. So when you call back within 45 days to see if you're eligible for a reward, we reference that tip number. So none of your information is ever exchanged with us.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that it is completely anonymous. That's why Crime Stoppers works. You could make one simple phone call and say, hey, I know where that person eats. I know who is hiding that person. I know that person goes to their grandmother's every Sunday for dinner. Whatever it is a simple phone call. It's handled by Crime Stoppers. It's given to the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department warrant unit, a very talented group of individuals that make finding these fugitives their job. Red, when we start talking about a reward, what do we like people to know?
We like them to know that crime doesn't pay, but Crime Stoppers does.
And we tell them that every week, up to a $5,000 reward for that simple anonymous phone call. Detective Red Dyer, we're trying 1 week at a time to get some fugitives off our street. And we want to thank Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County, as well as the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department, as well as you, Detective Red Dyer, for helping us out. You have a great week.
You too, Dan.
All right, take care. That's going to wrap it up. Again, let's look at that phone number one more time in case you didn't get it. 216-252-7463. That's 212-25-CRIME. If you can't remember, if you don't have something to write it down, 25-CRIME is the number, 216-252-7463. One fugitive at a time, making our streets safer. Let's get them in front of that judge to answer the charges they're facing. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. We have our 11 o'clock coming up in just a little more than 20 minutes, and then our noon news on Channel 19. Again, Dan DeRose. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.
Alrighty, excellent as always, Red. Patricia, thank you for your help. We'll see you folks next week.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks,
you
dear.
take care.
Take care. Have a good weekend.